Today we're going over the Zenless Zone Zero version 2.8 special program. I want to jump right into things, so here's the redemption code for this program. Enter Promeia in-game for 300 polychromes. This is one of the shorter programs, clocking in at about 27 minutes, but we did get a separate dev talk earlier this week sharing news about our Season 3 main area, Roscalifer. If you haven't seen that dev talk, here's a short summary. Roscalifer is the hidden floating bamboo utopia ruled by Lady Sunbringer, and it's going to be a bright city inspired by England/British culture. To allow us to explore Roscalifer, version 3.0 is going to be a lighter update story-wise, while version 3.1 is going to be the big anniversary update. Season 3 will be bringing back the old wind attribute, plus Belle and Wise are going to unlock a new part of their power called the etheric other, Pyroeus. Still not confirmed if Pyroeus is an actual playable agent, but that seems to be the implication, and we should learn a little more about them in version 2.8. Onto the version 2.8 story stuff. As usual, they did not give us a lot of direct information, but 2.8 is a continuation of the epilogue from 2.7. Billy, Cecilia, and the Phaethon siblings are trying to track down Ramiel in the Outer Ring. They meet up with Promeia again, but decide to team up this time since Promea's on the tracks of Rusty Cliff Corp, who were the sponsors of the Hollow Champion tournament. Interestingly, Promeia reveals that Rusty Cliff has deployed an anti-Void Hunter riot suppression mech against Ramiel. Surely that would imply Miss Ramiel is a Void Hunter level character. Well, the 2.8 trailer has some very interesting bits and bobs throughout. Promeia has some lines about not trusting tops, including Krampus, plus she mentions things like Helios' dream, Phaethon, and Icarus. She also tells someone to tell Phoenix it's time to move. I guess we'll find out who Phoenix is very soon. The lines are a bit cut up, but it seems implied Promeia is going to be talking about Roscalifer as the next destination. She calls it the Celestial Nexus. They didn't really say anything, but Ramiel seems to be back. Kinda. Dude got turned into a robot or something. They also didn't talk about it, but from what we've seen, it appears we're going back to the pale landscape Millennium Hollow or something. I had to look it up again, but Millennium is all white because the corruption is so severe it's affecting inorganic matter. Well, at least from what I think, it looks like the anti-Void Hunter mech is gonna get corrupted, and that's the new boss for the update. Well, either before that or after, there is another figure in this trailer. Wise seems to be attracted to some kind of box, and appears to unleash whatever's inside. From this creature's looks, I'm assuming this is another sacrifice type deal. It appears to merge with the anti-Void Hunter mech, similar to the Unknown Corruption Complex boss from the Belobog chapters. Interestingly, we see Belle and Eous with our 3 agents in one shot, but after this thing appears, Belle, or I assume Wise if he's the MC, are no longer around after. The gang gets absolutely bodied by that creature, and since we know about the Phaethon siblings getting the etheric other, there are some implications as to what may be happening. We'll see what is actually going on very soon. Now they did give us some details about the new boss. It's gonna self-inflict wind anomaly on itself. Yes, the enemies are getting wind attributes before we do. While in this wind anomaly state, inflicting another anomaly will not trigger disorder. It will instead trigger vortex, and the boss will stay in the wind anomaly state. Mr. Z confirmed you can still activate polarity disorders, polarity assault, and ablooms. I think I also figured out what that windswept keyword that pops up means. It just appears to tell you when the boss enters its wind anomaly state. Now it doesn't seem like we're done with anomaly bosses just yet, but there are some interesting details about the boss's moves. To me, it looks like the boss is transforming its golden arm into appendages from past ethereal bosses. The first attack looks like Nineveh's wing, then it snaps at us with Sobek's alligator mouth. The last one is tough to see, but that looks like the tail from the Unknown Corruption Complex boss. I wonder what that all means. The last bit of info we can glean from the trailer is quite the bombshell actually. Well, first, not surprising, is that Ramiel is not the pink-haired lady's real name. Apparently, she's more of a Rem fan because her actual name is Remielle, and more interesting, her last name is Dan. Ooh boy. Before we get to that last name, Remielle's black wings turn white, and her headpiece manifests into a more elegant one with a cloth. This perfectly matches up with the previously unnamed pink-haired Void Hunter. Unless this family just likes wearing these same type of headpieces, I feel like this might be a confirmation Remielle is that OG Void Hunter. If not, they are definitely for sure related. As for the name Dan, the lore teaser was never super clear cut on the identities of these 3 Void Hunters. They list the names Colonel Voig, Lieutenant Colonel Dan of the Guard of Staves, and the leader of the Falkenheim mercenary troop. It flashes the purple-haired lady, then the big dude, and lastly the pink-haired lady. Most people just assume Dan was the dude's name, but if you take the order of the final image, then sure, you could also say Dan is the middle lady. I don't think we knew anything substantial about these three, so it doesn't really matter what their names end up being. It's just nice to get confirmation on one name though. Before we move on, there is a crazy shot of who I assume is Remielle glowing full angelic gold. Will Bell and Wise end up going full Super Saiyan as well? I guess we'll see when they fully master the etheric other. Next, let's talk about the new agents releasing in 2.8. Promeia is our first S-rank Ice Anomaly agent. Miyabi's Frost may count as Ice, but the very fact it is not Ice Anomaly is what makes the Mono Ice team work, because Frost can trigger Disorder with the Ice Anomaly. I don't know if Promeia and Miyabi will be the best partners since Promeia seems to want some on-field time, but I'm sure you can make it work at least somewhat. Promeia's unique resource is Corrosive Chill, which she gains by attacking or when her team triggers Freeze, Disorder, or the new Vortex effect when Wind Anomaly is applied. When you fill her gauge halfway, Promeia gains 1 Trial by Cold point. I'm pretty sure when you have 2 Trial by Cold dots, the gauge becomes another place to store more Trial by Cold. So if you have 2 dots and a full gauge, then that's actually 4 Trial by Cold. At least that's what it looks like. Now, Promeia will use Trial by Cold to trigger a blooms with certain attacks. She also gains bonus decibels. Promeia can throw her cape out and slowly walk around. This is the bound absolution state, and Promeia triggers an automatic dodge when active. One way to enter this state is with her EX special. The EX special also grants the absolute order effect, and if you use it as an enemy hits you, Promeia can warp behind them to do a follow-up attack. You can also do this absolute order follow-up manually. Now during absolute order, if you hold special, Promeia does a stronger follow-up. This is an execution finisher, and it uses Trial by Cold to trigger in a blue. Promeia's additional ability needs an anomaly or support agent. It buffs the anomaly buildup of her EX special, and it now applies a debuff that increases the team's bloom damage. For her ultimate, I'm pretty sure it triggers another bloom all on its own. Overall, based on her kit and the showcase, Promeia does seem like an on-fielder with some free dodges, so you can stay aggressive. She triggers blooms with Trial by Cold, and since Promeia buffs bloom damage, I think she should be usable with the stunners like Nangong or Lycon for decent burst damage. With her lower cost EX special, a bloom buffs, and the gameplay showcase, it is obvious they do intend for Promeia to work really well with Vivian. Gonna be a whole lot of bloom spam on the screen. Next up, S-rank Starlight Billy, also known as Silly Billy, also known as Broke Billy, because apparently he got Nicole to pay his next half a year's salary to get these upgrades. I love that Billy gets his red scarf back from his Caledon days, and he's even brought his motorcycle this time. Combine that with some Starlight Knight's flair, and you get a very awesome looking ult. This Billy is an S-rank Physical Rupture agent who, as usual, scales with HP. His regular special will consume HP to pop a sweet wheelie, and if Billy gets hit, he can parry the attack. After this counter, you can press special again to launch a bike plus arm cannon combo. This is his EX special that will cost adrenaline. Similar to Yidhari, Billy will be consuming HP, but he can also heal back HP with certain moves. Unfortunately, Mr. Z was not very thorough with Billy's kit, but you can see here that Billy has another EX special where he slams his bike down that heals his HP in exchange for adrenaline. After entering with a quick assist, Billy also seems to use HP to ride his bike in. If you're wondering what Billy's resource bar is, then good, me too, because they never talked about it at all. Billy seems to fill it with all his attacks, and in this one clip, he appears to consume this resource to do a bike attack followed by blasting the enemy with his exhaust, which is pretty sick. For his additional ability, they didn't even say what teammates Billy needs, but I'm going to assume it's at least a support or a stunner based on the showcase. They only said that Billy gets a damage buff after certain attacks. From the official infographic, it does say launching special attacks will increase Billy's crit damage. I don't know if this is the same buff or another buff on top. Last, Billy's ultimate has him doing some sick donuts before jumping off for a Starlight Knight flying kick. How can you not like the extra flair? Starlight Billy is continuing the Rupture trend of having a parry type mechanic, and like Yidhari, it seems like his HP bar is going to be ping-ponging back and forth. I'm not sure if Billy has damage reduction or you gotta be on point with those bike blocks, but either way, he does seem to have a good bit of moves. I like that despite being more melee oriented this time, Billy still has some of his gun moves. His counter after the bike parry reminds me of his chain attack or ult, and one of his attacks looks like his dodge count. Can't wait to try him out. For the 2.8 banners, Promeia will be in the first phase, and you can get her signature dev engine, Frostfall Sickle. Her rerun partner will be Lucia, who is the only S-rank sheer force buffer. I don't know how fast they're going to introduce another one of these types of supports, but until then, Lucia is the best buffer for all Rupture agents, Billy included. For the A ranks, we got Sukaku and Lucy. You should be able to use both with Promeia for general attack buffing. For phase 2, you can get Silly Billy and his signature, Starlight Rider faceplate. His rerun partner will be Orphe and Captain Magus. For the raid up A-ranks, Billy is lucky enough to get Ponyahu, who is our A-rank Sureforce buffer. It's either Pan or Lucia, so not a lot of options unless you want to run an attack buffer who's not going to give their full buffing power. For the other A-rank, it's Monato, literally the only A-rank Rupture agent. Actually, Pine and Monato are the only Season 2 A-rank agents, so not everyone may have all their Mindscapes. If you're going for Billy or Orphe, not a bad consolation prize. Before we move on, pay attention to the banner dates. Phase 1 starts on May 6th and runs for 3 weeks till the 27th. Phase 2 starts on the 27th and also runs 3 weeks till June 16th. From the dev talk, we know version 3.1 is going to be the anniversary update, and that has to start by July 4th, I would assume. We only had 8 weeks for versions 2.8 and 3.0. Unless these banner dates from the infographic are wrong, version 2.8 is the usual 6 weeks, so I guess 3.0 is going to be an unprecedented 2 or 2.5 weeks? I mean, that's kind of crazy either way. I don't think any of the main Hoyo games have had an update version last not even 3 weeks. I'm not sure what this means for version 3.0, but just something to keep in mind. Like, if the 3.0 banners are Valina and Norma, not a lot of time to get them. I doubt they're going to cram 6 weeks of events into that short time frame as well, which means less polychrome income as well. I don't know what's going on, but Season 3 is going to have an interesting start, that's for sure. Moving on, we had a pretty nice surprise. Miyabi will be joining her fellow Void Hunters and will be getting a new outfit. This black and gold attire looks great and definitely a fun change from her usual uniform. It should be in the shop with the usual discount during version 2.8. Next, let's talk about events. As usual, there's going to be login events for 10 encrypted master tapes and 10 Boopons. Next update, Eous will be visiting the Marcel Bootopia theme park. You can explore this island, meet new Bangbu, get loot, and even fight. It seems like they're finally upgrading Eos' combat kit with some new moves. As part of the rewards, for Bootopia you can get a new A-rank Bangbu, Bootergeist. It flies around and shoots laser beams from its eyes, which is pretty funny. Next, in Spirit Artist's notebook will assist the Bane of Evil to track down wanted individuals. I guess if Rena's cooking, that's a fair assessment. This casual event will reward polychromes and Boopons. In Ultimate Verdict Trials, this is our usual VR combat event where you can test out Promeia more. Looks like you can fight the new anti-Void Hunter mech there. This event will feature a tuning calibrator. A look into Ridu's Legends is an event hosted by the Spook Shack crew. You can help visitors with their paranormal incidents to earn an event named card. Last, we got the usual double drop events for drive discs and leveling materials. Good luck everyone, because Season 3 and the anniversary are right around the corner. On to optimizations, we got a look at the polychrome guide mentioned from the dev talk. This is basically just another way to see which events still has polychromes for you to earn. There's a limited time tab and a permanent tab. They even included an approximate time required to complete these events, which is pretty neat. For more features, you can sort the events and quickly teleport to where you need to be to access said events. Sounds like a great feature all around for everyone. For first time installers, you can choose to download the full version of ZZZ or the base version. The base version will be getting updated every version to help save space. For current players, they're adding more features to the resource management tab. There's now an option to automatically delete content you've already beaten. Naturally, you can always re-download stuff later. For some real life events, they're releasing a ZZZ original soundtrack vinyl record set. I'm not entirely sure if there's a list of all the songs right now, but pre-orders will start on April 29th, so I'll be on the lookout for that if you're interested. If you're on PC, Zenless Zone Zero will be coming to Steam in the near future. The Hoyo games use your email for cross-platform data sharing, so there should be no difference if you open the game through Steam or the official Hoyo Play launcher. I assume you just have to link your Steam account to the email. Now there will be a Steam version playtest which you can sign up for right now. Separate thing, I think, there is also going to be rewards if people wishlist the game. Hey, 60 polychromes are 60 polychromes. Last thing, as expected, we're getting a Season 3 teaser. If you forgot or weren't around, the Season 2 teaser was an animated short that gave us a taste of the Season 2 cast. Naturally, not all the characters were shown, but we should have a general idea of what the early Season 3 banners will look like. Basically, if you were already having a hard time saving polychromes, this is not going to help. Or maybe it will. I mean, we basically know Valina plus Norma and Remielle will probably be playable too. I'm sure there will be some neat reveals though. Like, I'm curious if they're willing to show off the etheric other right now, or are we just going to wait a bit longer for that one? Anyway, that's going to be it for the version 2.8 special program. Should be some neat reveals as we set up for Season 3's opening of Rose Califer. Remielle is definitely going to play a big role moving forward, and along with our new agents, we're getting the win attribute back. To end Season 2, Promeia and Starlight Billy will play us out. Both look very fun to play, and I'll be working on guides in the future. Thank you for watching. Be sure to finish up all your version 2.7 events, and I will see you back again for version 2.8.